The one next to it.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here. We have wonderful graduate student, John. Yes, I taught him as well. Dr. Lee taught him as well. Very successful. Thank you. This is like your second time visiting?
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
In 2012.
Yeah. He's here to tell us about his experiences, more importantly about the job opportunities that SGC. I want to mix it up because I know there's a SCP also.
Oh, yeah, a bunch of them.
But thank you for coming. I see you brought food for the department. Thank you very much. And core of opportunities, what you do. I'm also looking at permanent positions if they are available. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. How many of you guys are seniors this year? Got 2, 3, okay. And how many juniors? 2, 3 sophomores. And then freshmen. So, how many of you guys were here for the presentation that I gave last year? Okay. How many, so I'll still some new faces though, so I'll kind of cover through and make sure I cover everything. Kind of fill those other guys in. I work for SGC Surveying. They're the second major surveying company that I worked with in the past. We have an operational footprint all up and down the East Coast, Ohio, Pennsylvania, all the way from Maine, all the way to the tip of Florida, and then far west is like Texas. And we're kind of continuing to expand westwardly, so we do have a lot of opportunities all across the country. So I know a lot of you guys are, I'm from Memphis, Alabama, grew up in Alabama, so kind of stay pretty local, but it's really starting to attract some students from across the country. So even if you're not really located in this area, don't kind of hesitate to ask questions and ask about internship opportunities, because we do have offices all over the place. That's a little blurry, but we'll get all right. About SGC, I'm going to skim through a lot of this. I'm kind of like, I don't say pressed for time, but I want to save as much time as we can for kind of questions and actually like talking about the important stuff. So if I skim through some of this stuff, I can provide this. I can provide you guys with this PowerPoint presentation if you have like want to get into this technicalities of it. But we've been around since 1999, so we're well established. I think the last count we had 175 employees. So relatively big. I like to say we're a big enough company. We've got the support that you need to get things done, but at the same time, we're not so big that you have to deal with the bureaucracies of like a huge, engineering firm or something like that. It's kind of typically bogged down the weeds of the corporate stuff that a lot of people have to deal with. We do have the capacity to kind of take care of things all across the nation. So a lot of our clients are kind of like blue chip companies that you'd say where they are not really interested in the lowest price for certain things. They're wanting consistent deliverables, and they want somebody that can take care of projects anywhere in the country. So we have a client, SGC Engineering is a big client that we have that we want to work with. And I've sent crews from Ocala, Florida to upstate New York for a 2-day job. Yeah. You've got 4 days of travel time, 2 days worth of work. But you know what? They don't really care. They know that we can kind of get that work done. They want it to be the same, and they want it now. So having you kind of have different business models that you'll see throughout the industry. Some of those are kind of based on like keeping a really tight group and lining work out and stacking it up into the future. And other business models are more like, hey, we need to be flexible, we need to be lean, we need to be able to go, but we're going to charge more. So that's kind of, we're in a hybrid model where we kind of go into between and we're kind of build kind of have kind of offices that handle both groups, but at the same time, like a lot of top clients that we have kind of go with us for that specific reason. We do have a large geospatial program. We do a lot of work with power companies, so we've got MSAs with like Duke Energy, FPL, TECO, that's Tampa Electric Company, Florida Power and Light. We've done some work with the southern companies, but we are trying to kind of aggressively pursue Alabama Power, Georgia Power, and some of those. There's a lot of companies up north, Eversource, Avangrid, things like that. They're large companies, but they don't have the presence down here, so all those. They do a ton of drone work, and we do a lot of terrestrial and LiDAR scanning for them. They're probably our biggest kind of drone and LiDAR clients that prefer that every single job that they go on. A lot of our other clients, it's kind of on an as needed basis. A lot of times they're still kind of wanting it the old school way or wanting it done conventional survey, but we will bring into it from time to time with other clients as well. We do obviously like preliminary surveying, land acquisitions, a lot of office support when it comes to providing like, somebody needs an easement for a particular utility, providing easement sketch descriptions. We do subsurface utility engineering. So LLC like C or level B, which would be like your TPR, your, kind of locating underground stuff using above ground means. And we also don't do as much. We started subbing some of it out, but we have a SUA operation as well and have a lot of clients that require us to do LiDAR, hydrographic if we need to, surveying, locate all their underground utilities, and then verify those utilities with the SUA portion. So we can kind of be like a one-stop shop for, engineering companies needing to have a civil design done or things like that. We do use a lot of GIS. We're actually in the process. Sam Frobridge is our GIS lead. She's out of Mooresville, North Carolina, but she is actually setting up a program right now where it's a specific internship program, like just for our GIS department. That is kind of in the works right now. So I would like to give you guys specifics as far as like rates and times and stuff like that. All that's still being worked out. We're actually looking at a partnership with like Louisiana Tech or something, and they kind of, we're not just necessarily using like their students, but they do some stuff in the GIS space and are looking at bringing us an office over there. So as we expand in Louisiana, we're actually going to be like partnering with them where they provide us with an office there on the campus too. So a lot of really do try to like work with people in the community to try to like get the word out about that. A lot of people don't. They think of a surveying firm. They want surveys. They don't realize that we have this capacity. So that's a growing field. Right now, we do offer a lot of GIS, but it's all to service ourselves. So our platform on how we do business, the way we collect data, the way we store data, the way we do data for ourselves internally are all managed through GIS. So every project that we have, when we set it up, it's in the GIS form. That's all that stuff gets tracked. So it's not like our GIS team is having to like go in the background and start, logging all of this data. It's incorporated from start to finish on the projects and are integrated with our financial systems and stuff. So while we have a lot of GIS, it's all for like selfish reasons, I guess, right now. We're trying to get it out there and actually have clients start, utilizing that a little bit more. We do have some military contracts, so we do a lot of stuff with military groups, but right now they're pretty much our exclusive clients that utilize our GIS capabilities. Talk about that. I will, this is a good page. How many of you guys want to open your own business out of school? Maybe not right out of school. Me too. It's always kind of something that I wanted to do going out of school, and frankly, it's not You're like, it's something that I always kind of keep in the back of our heads. And I think we're all ultimately, if we don't kind of go into this industry with the thought of ever having that, because there's very few jobs that have the barrier to entry that we do. Kind of not just anybody can do it, but also, there's some operations where you can $100,000 to $200,000, you could be set up and own your own business and work it out of your house. So that's when I got into this. That was like, hey, this is the way I don't have to work for a man. Like I can do it myself. But as I started getting into the business side of things and started working with these different clients, there's a couple things that I realized. Number one, when you start off small, the main resource that you're going to have is like real estate and boundary survey transactions. Your business is going to go up and down with that as the real estate market does. To prevent that, you want to diversify. You don't want it to all be in, that. You want to do work for the local county, working on whether it be the dump or new projects. You want to work with engineering companies for roadway design, water design, things like that. And pretty early on, I learned a little something about limits liability insurance. And a lot of these guys require like $10 million of limits liability insurance. So you kind of have these different business models. And to go into that, it's like, okay, I can make money here, but if I want to diversify, that's an extra $2,000 a month. So if I'm going to make that jump, how do I do this? How do I do that? And what I've kind of been talking with different people who went straight into owning their own businesses, and a lot of them are extremely successful, versus other people that kind of took a route more like me. It's the one thing I kind of learned from all of them is when you go and kind of work for a larger company, there's learning all along the way for all these different types of surveying that you're doing. And part of learning is mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. When you're in it for yourself, you pay for your mistakes. When you work for the man, he pays for your mistakes. So I kind of learned, I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go work for this company, large, we were like the company that I originally went with was at the time, like the 25th largest engineering consulting firm in the world. So big company, great. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to learn a little bit. Let me get in there 6 months to a year. And then once I kind of learn what I need to learn, I'm going to branch out and do my own thing. And then I got in there and I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot I learned. And then after a year, I was like, well, like I learned a lot, but there's a lot more to learn. After 2 years, it was like, learned a lot, but man, the more I learn, the more I realize that there's more for me to learn. So I'm still learning. You know what I mean? Like when I get to the point where I feel like I've learned as much as I can learn in the business, that's when it's my time to move on and go to something different or go for another job or something like that. But for right now, I'm really happy where I'm at. I'm learning a ton. And a company like SGC can offer you kind of that. Okay, we work with power companies. We work with city municipalities, county municipalities, roadway, drainage. We'll also work with private developers. We did a big borrow pit recently in Florida. We're working with power companies. We're working with Department of Transportation, not in the state of Florida, but in other DOTs, across the country. And oil and gas, we do a good bit of oil and gas work. So you're kind of like able to go in, work with your direct manager and say, hey, this is kind of what I want to learn. And they kind of, okay, well, we have a need there. Yes, okay, yeah, we can work you here, work you there, and give you a little taste of everything. So if you're wanting to own your own business, I would encourage you to pick a company for these internships and these, whether it be an internship or just a career path. Pick a company that's diversified, and when you're going to these interviews, don't be afraid to ask questions like, what does your portfolio look like? What kind of business do y'all do? What's your breakdown of the percentages? Because they may say, oh, yeah, we do that. But that may be 5% of their business, not 25% of their business. So you don't be afraid to ask questions and kind of try to think about as many things as you can as far as diversified employment. We have some stuff in here on ground penetrating radar and some of the new technologies out there. We kind of, honestly, that part of our business is kind of handled separate from surveying. We have guys from the construction field and from that space, and they kind of typically hire guys to work in there that are from that space as well. So I'm not saying that if you guys wanted to come work with Sue, that's great. You know, we should definitely line that up, but it's probably not the thing that's gonna like help your degree out and help your path to becoming a licensed surveyor and having a successful surveying business. But it really helps us out when we're, so a lot of people want to, you know, come to us for that one-stop shop. Typically we'll use a GPR like this. This is your standard run-of-the-mill single antenna GPR that's detecting underground utilities. Probably 95% of the people who locate utilities use this. We've also started working with multiple antenna GPRs. I think we talked about this last time. There was a Raptor device where you can actually hook it on the back of a golf cart or car or something like that. And you can cover a lot of ground. And by having it because it's using so many of these antennas, it's got signals that are bouncing off of each other, and it's actually able to integrate into a GPS and model that stuff. So rather than having to kind of typically spot things mainly with your eye and then marking that with a depth and a size and things like that, you're able to like just scan a bunch of stuff and load it into a CAD file and do a lot of that data, you know, analyzing in the office, where you can have professionals that are doing it and not necessarily have to be counting on a field guy that's, you know, can easily make a mistake. So your data is, it's easily repeatable, and you're able to, you know, when questions arise, you're also able to go back and review it and double check things. So that comes with a push target model as well. As far as the drone stuff, obviously we do, we have some subcontractors that do manned flight stuff for us that we have some MSAs and close partnerships with that we kind of work with on projects. We don't currently have our own like fixed wing and helicopters or anything like that, but we do a lot of jobs that require that type of stuff. So it's interesting to deal with, but we do have our own drone pilots. We've got some guys that have started the drone operation kind of pretty early on, and frankly, before drones really took off, they were the ones kind of in the back room, kind of figuring that stuff out and doing it pretty early on. So we would really consider them industry experts, and we have a lot of people, a lot of clients that use us and continue to use us regardless of cost or, you know, anything else, because they've gotten bad drone data. There's a lot of companies out there offering LiDAR scanning and drone work that do not go through the proper checks and calibrations and things like that that are necessary. So companies, while they understand that LiDAR data and drones are the way of the future and you got to get in the program, they've also kind of been burned several times. So they've got good skepticism in making sure that they're using quality vendors. So that's that geospatial team that handles that for us. They do a great job of keeping our clients coming back happy every time. So we also do a lot of terrestrial scanning. But you can see this is a lot of what when we work for power companies, we're scanning, you know, doing as-builts on their structures and doing span calculations, things like that, making sure they've got the correct cover and all that sort of stuff. So we do a fair amount of that type of stuff. Certainly for substations, do a lot of those substations like this stuff that you're dealing around. You know, this is very expensive, very diverse equipment, so safety is a precedent to that. So that's why you'll find a lot of these power companies are moving forward with drone work a lot more than other industries. That makes it a little hesitant. We do have we've got several Leica scanners, and also we use a lot of the triple SX10 scanners. They're, as far as use, you know, being user friendly, we use pretty much all Trimble products. Most of our crews are equipped with triple R12Is for the rover and R10 bases from the base station. And we do a lot of our standard data processing with TVC and so it happens. We really like their scanners for some of the, I guess, like things that don't require quite the sophistication or accuracy that some the bike provides. If we can get by with doing it with a triple scanner, it's always preferred. These are just some of the examples of just different, some of the modeling that we do with different deliverables that we offer to clients. And that is our operational footprint. So I don't know if anybody's in any of the blue states, but if you are, then you have to find a green state to intern in. But we do have a pretty wide range and a lot of coverage, and we're kind of actively expanding westwardly, kind of weekly now. So we have been very successful over the past 2 or 3 years, and I don't want to say money to burn, but we've got some back end that's really helping us in a way to move forward, and we're kind of we've been expanding our resources as far as personnel, but we've also been acquiring some other businesses and things like that to help diversify our portfolio and make sure that, we've all got a good place to work and can kind of make any customer happy. So that's our contact. So I think that's the first 30 minutes. And does anybody have any questions more about SGC or anything that may have gone over?
One of the services is expert witness testimony involved for the court. Give me some idea what kind of.
I say it was far away. No, we can do it like it's not. I say it's advertised like I've never had to go to court over something, and nobody that I know really wants to go over to court with something, but actually, my fiance is a mental health counselor, and she just had to go to court on a child custody battle Wednesday, or no, Tuesday, yesterday. And, it's something that we do, all professionals, if you got a licensure by your name and you involve that sort of stuff, you are kind of subject to doing that. I don't think it's anything that anybody really likes to do, but we're here to protect the public. You know what I mean? We're here to make this world a place that is as problem free as possible, and part of surveying boundaries and geography is, helping everybody get along and making that process, smooth. And sometimes there's challenging things and things that you don't necessarily want to do that kind of come along with that. So, if I was asked or whatever, like I would do it, but it's not necessarily something.
How often do you go out in the field?
How often do I go out in the field? It's very situational. Because we are such a large company, we go through different phases. So if I'm kind of there, I might have a lot of my clients are City of Panama City, City of Pensacola, Escambia, and Oakland County. In my specific region that I manage, those are my top clients. And a lot of times we'll have waves of funding. So, from April to October, just slammed, and I'm having to call everybody, hey, like, what resources can you send me? Can I get some help and all this sort of stuff? And then from October through February, I might kind of be a little slow because everything's kind of in the design phase, waiting to go to construction, things like that. So I might be helping other people with proposals and sending my crews and say, hey guys, like we're going to send you guys to North Carolina to work on a big pipeline project that Piedmont Natural Gas is doing. Kind of migrate. So it all depends on the project, and it depends on what time of year. Typically, I kind of get out in the field when things are slower for me. Just so because I'm not as busy doing proposals and QA/QC and stuff like that. But I'd say at least like 5 times it's fun, you know? But then there's other projects where, you know, I was out in the field every day. So it was like 6 days in a row. So it's just kind of on an as-needed basis. Obviously, I don't really make money for my company when I'm out in the field. They like to keep me in the office, you know.
The right good proposal makes you a lot of money for your company.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you know, oh yeah, it's, I told David, Dr. Raymer Band, Dr. New, they probably don't, they see a bunch of kids, but like, when I was in Troy, like, I enjoyed being here in my time, but I was not the most, I don't want to say diligent, but just like, I was riddled with ADD and just kind of like, was not like, get it done, get the project out, but at the same time, like, probably didn't have as much focus as I should have. And you learn real quickly, like, when it comes to proposal writing, when it comes to this stuff, like, when your license is on the line and when you're dealing with a client, like, hey, misspelling invert on a label in the bottom right-hand corner, you know what I mean? Like, you may not think about it, but that engineer is putting that on their drawing. They're putting those drawings together to send to the county, and that county's submitting it to FEMA. You know what I mean? So before you know it, you've got somebody in DC sitting there looking at it saying, oh, by the way, everything looks good, but can you use spell check next time and make sure that invert is spelled correctly? You know, so, you know, we're in an industry where it's like, it's a great industry. I love it. You can do a lot of different things. You can be outside, you can be inside, but we are in a detail oriented industry. The little stuff does matter. The decimal place is the difference between being right and being sued. Like, it's a very detailed thing. So that was something that I kind of had to struggle with. I learned a lot of it the hard way and just kind of, you know, trial by error and making it right. But it's you know, it's definitely something to kind of be aware of and pay attention to. Just realize kind of what you're getting into with that. What was some other stuff I was going to talk about?
Internship?
Do what?
Internship?
Yes, we do offer internships. Actually, Jake, I know he was a new getting into his program courses, but he interned with us last year and helped us out a lot. Do you want to say anything about kind of what some of your experience?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to work for John in Pensacola last summer. That was a great opportunity. I loved it. I loved working for him. Had a crew chief, his name was Josh. Pretty much was kind of like my mentor through the program and through the internship. And the main thing I liked about it was the fact that Josh would teach me things in the field and let me do it hands-on. So in my opinion, a lot better way of learning, do it hands-on. That's how I learn. I don't really learn too well looking at whiteboards and formulas and stuff like that. I like getting hands-on and do it out in the field. So helped me learn a lot through the internship and helped me learn how to use data collector, all that stuff, which I know we'll all learn in here. Some of y'all probably already have, but yeah, the hands-on experience is worth a lot in my opinion. It feels like the next step in your college career, get an internship, which I'm sure some of y'all already have. But.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, when it comes to an internship program, that we do, like, I'll be honest, right now with the way that the housing market is and just the cost of living is so different in different cities and different areas and things like that. As far as a flat rate, like, internship rates are negotiable, you know, so you can, if you're interested in, if you feel like we're a good company for you and pay an issue, like, pursue it. And you know what, if you want, you know, more than what we're willing to give, then that's okay. Like, you can kind of go, you know, there may be other options out there, but don't decide, when it comes to, like, I feel like we're extremely competitive for internships. I know I'm not gonna talk about pay or anything like that for everybody, but I know he made a whole lot more than I made started doing my internship. But look, I go for diversity, and I will say, like, you know, with our interns, we do try to, like, part of, we don't make any money on internships and interns. There's a lot of guys that want, they want an intern to come up and just chop line for them all day. That's not our business model. We want to have interns come work with us as a company and decide if we're a company that they want to pursue a long-term career with. That's our goal. So if I have you in the woods chopping down trees all day long every day, you're not really learning about my company. You're not really learning about surveying as an industry other than, it's part of our job, but there's a lot more than just cutting trees. And so kind of my approach to it as far as like interns within my region is like, hey, I talked to the party chiefs and said, well, some of these projects over the summer, we're gonna have tight budgets, tight timelines. Yeah, they may just be there just to carry a bush axe or carry things around to help you out. But if we have a project that has a flexible schedule and a flexible budget, things like that, spend some time, let them run it a little bit, try to get them as involved as you can. Because you doing that is not just me, it's not just to get you guys, but it's also helping me out because now they're learning about the industry. They're learning about SGC. They're learning about how we download data, the way we work together, the way we communicate, the way we, pass along instructions to different people and all that sort of stuff. So as any interns come, that's what I want to expose you guys to because I'm looking at the long-term investment, not the short-term gain. So that's kind of it. And I'm going to have some business cards too. I'll go pass those out to everybody. But we didn't talk about the guidelines.
And in GIS, we do need more people to work with different topics, to make sure that things are as expected as we want it to be. Do you need people in that group?
I will say yes. We've hired 2 people in the past, probably a couple months. And I know that they are looking to expand, but I would say we're probably getting I don't think the cup is full, but we're getting closer to being full. So, that may change between now and May. So I don't really know for sure. And if you're interested in that sort of stuff, I'm gonna have you work straight with Sam Thurridge, the director. I'm not gonna while I utilize GIS and I do love it as a resource to help me do my job. She's the queen bee up there and really understands that stuff inside and out, manages all the personnel within that throughout the entire country. So I'm not gonna pretend.
What's your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of the job. It's hard.
Don't fall.
Probably the client interaction. I like, and I would consider this kind of part of that too, but there's a lot of, you'll learn real quickly that the less people know about surveying, the more problems they cause for other surveyors. The less they understand about surveying, the more problems you're going to run into in the future. So part of being a surveyor and being a consultant is giving these clients what they ask for, but also kind of teaching them about surveying, letting them know why certain things are important. They may ask you, say, hey, I need a quote or a proposal for you to do this, stake this access road. That's all I need is you to stake this access road. Okay, you need the access road stake, I get that, but what about as-built on this road? Are those part of, I don't know, let me get back to you. Yeah, go ahead and give us a quote for as-built stake. Okay, well, now we're doing the as-built, do you have anybody actually laying this stuff out? Or oh no, we have our own layout guy. Oh, okay, so, and they're good with the whole benchmarks and putting elevations on well, yeah, I don't know if the benchmarks are gonna be flagged out there or not. So why don't you come out there, look at the existing benchmarks, set us some benchmarks, So by kind of working with these people, I'm not just pitching them to try to make more money. I'm working with them and teaching them about the overall process and sharing with them about experiences that I've gone through in the past. So their project can be successful. Yes, we're going to make more money by me doing that along the way, but I'm also making their project more successful they're not having to go to their client midway through the project and ask for change orders because something went wrong. Like, so they're happy, I'm happy. I'm able to talk about surveying and share knowledge about surveying and, you know, and that's the stuff that, you know, makes the company successful long-term, in my opinion. So are those type of relationships. So those, I mean.
How many food do you all have? How many trucks?
I think we're like in the 90s. So we, that's been kind of, do what? Oh, no, that's the whole country. So out of my office right now, I have 2 outfits, trucks. I'm in the process of trying to hire a 3rd. Then we have another 4 trucks in our Orlando office. And so I kind of cover like Mobile and, you know, Escambia, Santa Rosa, Walton, Okaloosa, Bay counties. And then they kind of, the Orlando office kind of goes up to, we're constantly sharing resources and sending crews down there to help them. I mean, my crews go to Miami, you know, 2 times a year to go work on that. And then they go to Tampa, things like that. So a lot of our programs do involve kind of, I'd say travel, but it's very selective travel. When it comes to traveling, and this goes for whether you're an intern or a full-time employee, both will get treated the same. Any travel, like personal miles, it's like 50, you get paid 54 cents a mile for everything that you travel on your own vehicle. And then you also, we go by GSA rates, which I'm not sure if y'all familiar with that, but that's like the government dictated rates that they're supposed to give all federal or government employees. So if you're asked to travel for the government and you go to Miami in the middle of the wintertime, to give like $275 a day just for having to be there. That's for, to account for your lodging meals versus like, you know, Andalusia, Alabama, you're getting $155 a day or something like that. So it's like, they just kind of change it based on where you are regionally. So you're never going to be like, oh yeah, we're sending you to this place. We're giving you $25 for food and $100 for a hotel. You make it work, which is, there's nothing illegal with that. You don't have to use GSA rates. We just choose to do that because it ends up being fair. And we feel that that's kind of like just a good thing, a good benefit to give to the employees. But you're never going to be in a situation where you're like not making a little bit of money when you have to travel. So.
Do you have temporary accommodation for interns?
I mean, not currently right now, like the only intern that Jake is the only one that I've had to, you know, kind of figure out a model for. And he lives close, you know, he lives in Fairhope, so RV pretty much. So right now he's just commuting back and forth, but we're in the process right now of trying to like, you know, it may not be an accommodation, but it's like, hey, can we do something to bump him up to help him, you know, covers gas to and from work and things like that. So it all depends on like what your situation is, what office you're working at, and how far you need to come, things like that. So I would say, you know, if you're interested, let's talk about it. We can kind of discuss the details and make sure you're, you know, well accommodated for it. You know, if we can make a deal, great. You know what I mean? Like I said, if not, there, you know, I don't want to ever put somebody in a position where I'm like over promising, but at the same time, you know.
Employment package.
Yes.
Give them an idea about the employment package for permanent position.
So for full-time staff, we do offer like, we have healthcare, dental, a full like insurance bundle. We also have a 401k match, up to, I think it's 5%, which is pretty good. So those are kind of the non-benefits. We do offer full-time, like we hire all full-time staff and everybody works in company trucks. So I know a lot of companies out there will kind of like have people working on their personal vehicles and things like that. So we kind of do away with that. All of our party chiefs are receive a company credit card, company gas card, company truck and equipment. So, you know, I do that, that's for them to kind of use to and from work for the most part. Obviously, like, you know, they're not gonna ridicule somebody for like swinging out of the grocery store, picking up a gallon of milk on their way home. But, you know, for the most part, that's kind of what's driven. Once you reach the project manager level, you also receive a company credit card, company truck, company gas card. But one of the benefits towards our project managers is that they, that's their vehicle. So like I have the luxury of going on vacations in my company truck. I can, you know, go home to visit my family. Like that's a just kind of like a incentive gift that we get to use. So, and I would say anybody who's like coming out with a degree, like degrees do not necessarily mean everything at SGC. We have a lot of project managers and planning staff that are not licensed, not degreed necessarily in geomatics. However, with you coming with a degree, it's kind of under the assumption that, hey, like, let's get this guy where he needs to be. So you're kind of expedited through the process to try to kind of get you where you should be, because we understand this competitive market for licensed surveyors. You know, that we want you to make as much money as you possibly can, to make you as happy as you possibly can. And the way to make you more money is to get you trained and developed where you need to be as an employee so that you can make us a lot of money. And it's just kind of the whole symbiotic relationship of kind of moving you through the program. So it doesn't really do us a lot of good to hire a qualified degree, fix and be licensed guy and just keep him at the bottom. That, you know, it's just not really productive. So, you know, we do try to kind of expedite that. Program. Any other questions?
What's your expectations for graduates? Because you say, you know, but what do you want to get on that? It's like based on your personal experience. Okay?
Oh, like, what do I expect for a graduate to be able to do coming out of school?
Right.
A graduate coming out of school, I would probably put them in an instrument person position, which would be, you know, below a rodman, below a party chief. My personal experience, I was kind of at that status for about 6 months. And then I went to kind of like running a crew. And then within a year, I was splitting time 50-50 between working as a data tech in the office and working in the field. And in about 2 years, I was a full-blown data tech and was pretty much exclusively in the office. Apart from just like general like quality control checks and things like that. And then within another year 4, I was classified as a survey supervisor. So, you know, running projects, there would be a project manager, but I would kind of like handle the day-to-day operations of that, processing the data, getting photos together, putting the package together, sending it off. And then by year 6, I was a, you know, full-on like project manager. You know, I did a lot of different stuff in my career. Started with DOT work, private stuff, also. Then went into oil and gas, and then came back and started managing the like local municipality type surveying work. And now I do a plethora of everything. So that did slow me down a little bit, but it also diversified me where now I'm in a really like, it's kind of a short-term trade-off for a long-term gain kind of situation. So that should mean there's other guys, but then again, you still have to like earn your spot. You know what I mean? Like there's other guys that graduated and they get out there and you know what, like they kind of know what they're doing, but they're not very good at communicating and they don't really show up for work on time and they're just kind of constantly calling out sick and they're just, you know what I mean? And it's like, hey, like we want to help you and get you through the system, but like you don't get a free pass just because you have a degree. So there's a, you know, you still got to earn it. But I hope that answers that question. And make sure that the ladies at the office package y'all up some nice little like hats and trinkets, koozies and stuff like that, so feel free to grab any of that stuff that you want. And I'll put my business.
Your business card, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them on that table as well, so that you guys can grab.
How many people are you looking for in terms of interns?
I take all.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.